Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another Buzzing Chat Show here on Buzzing Pattaya, and to today's discussion, and that is, how do men come here and end up losing everything? And it's a really good topic. It's a good discussion. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. And what I would say, guys, if you have an experience or you know someone that's been in this situation, please share below. Guys, let's not be silly with the comments. Don't start having a dig at each other. If people have been kind enough to share, then be kind enough to respect the situation. But what I would do is say, please have your say, have a comment. That's what makes this channel so great. Now, before we get into it, I've still got a bit of a sore throat, so apologies if my voice sounds like I'm one of those sex talkers. But anyway, please have a look at our Discord group. There's a link down below. If you get on there, there's over 7,000 people on there now, which is fantastic. All like-minded people just like yourselves that have got a love for this wonderful city. So, get on there. You can ask questions. We're building a directory now of all the bars and the clubs and the girls that are working in the bars, etc., etc. There's so much going on there. So please have a look at Discord. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, there's a link in the description below where you can jump on, become a member, and please send me through your photo, and I in turn will send you back your digital ID card, and where you can use that to get a free buzzing shot in all the participating bars, etc., as well as get discounts on like visa services, insurance, etc., etc. And I will also give you access to the members area in our Discord group. So have a look at that, guys. All right, so today's chat. How do guys come here and end up losing everything? So I think what we need to do is we need to break it down into parts. And like I say, this is just an observation. I'll be really interested in your comments, but this is what I've seen over the years and seen like the common factors between people that tend to get in this situation. So firstly is like, what is your living situation back home? Now, you might have been in a really long marriage and you might have been divorced, and maybe you're not confident or comfortable engaging back into female society and trying to get yourself another partner. Maybe it happens. I know you're sitting there thinking, what is he going on about? But it can happen. So if you're in that situation, what do? If you're not confident, you need to come into an environment where, in fact, like it is here, the girls will come to you rather than you go to the girls. And I know it's a bit of a silly situation, but it is how it is here, and it may build your confidence back up. If you live alone, now if you live alone, there's nothing wrong with that. I lived alone on my own for 2 years when I divorced my wife. It happens. So, but when you live alone, you've got to have a certain strength of character. So maybe if you've lived alone for too long, you kind of like get to not being a hermit, but you just don't want to go out, you don't socialize that much, which again makes it very difficult to find yourself a partner. Maybe you're suffering with a mental illness. It might be depression, for instance. Now, I suffered with depression. I had depression for 2 years. I was very wealthy. I had a massive house in London. I had a nice big car, family, all the rest of it. I was earning a shed load of money, but yet internally I was just dying a slow but painful death, and I didn't know how to do anything about it. So I ended up going and seeing a doctor, and they prescribed me with sertraline, 100 milligrams of sertraline every day for 2 years. But what they saw on the outside wasn't what was going on in the inside for me. I would sit there watching TV and just burst into tears when I was on my own because I was so depressed, even though I was living what most people consider to be a fantastic lifestyle. So if you're in that situation, maybe you need to escape. Maybe you need to come out to somewhere like Thailand to relax and to enjoy yourself and to just escape from all the pressures that you may be under. Talking of pressure, maybe you're overworked. Maybe you're working 18-hour days, 7 days a week, you're saving lots of money, but you've got no lifestyle. So on the back of that, you think, well, I need to come out, I need to relax, I need to get away from things. So you come out here armed with a bank account full of money. So they're the kind of common situations that we kind of see out here. And when you sit from the outside looking in, you think, oh, be careful, my friend, be careful. So there are certain situations where I think you've got a bit of a warning sign going on. Also, here, this city, it dispels all the myths that we're cheap Charlies and we, all the rest of it, sad losers, blah, blah, blah. I know people here that are very wealthy. And I mean seriously wealthy, that are retired when they're in their 40s, etc., etc. So don't be swayed into the thoughts that just because you come to Pattaya for a holiday or you're living here that you're a pauper and you've got no life, because that's far from it. I know some very wealthy people here. So again, it attracts all kinds of people from all walks of life, doctors, teachers, company directors, there's all those kind of people here. So again, the girls are used to seeing these kind of people come in and think, oh, hang on, maybe I can get a slice of that cake. So they're very upfront, they're very aware of what's going on, they're very quick at working you out and sussing you out. So they're going to look for these kind of people. So remember I said about living conditions. Maybe you've been on your own, or you've had a long divorce, you come out here, you've got a bit of money. The girls will latch onto that. So one of the biggest factors is being kind-hearted. It may sound like a good thing, and I like to believe I'm kind-hearted, I do what I can to help people, but the girls will see that as a weakness, because what they'll then do is they'll play on that, and they'll say, oh, you know, such and such, you know, you've heard it all before, grandma's died for the 5th time, the house has fell down for the 10th time, etc., etc. Can you please help me? Can you please help me? So these monetary demands or requests are quite easily heard many, many times in a relationship. So again, you know, it's being on our kind-heartedness. Oh, can you please help me? I've got no one else to turn to, and you know, you love me, I love you, and all that kind of stuff. So it's very easy to get sucked into that emotion and think, do you know what, oh, go on then, all right, I'll help you. Particularly if this is your newfound love and you've not engaged in the female world that much previously. So don't forget, you know, come here, you found yourself a lovely girl, a lovely lady, you think, oh, she's amazing, and she's just pulling a little bit of your wallet saying, oh, could you just help like mum out because she needs to do this, or granddad needs to do that, whatever. The minute you say yes, you're a target. You've opened up your vulnerability. So I'm not saying be mean, but balance your books. Just think to yourself, is this really a do or die situation? Do I genuinely need to do this, or can we try and figure out a different way? Once you start paying and that starts to become a regular thing, you'll then start to convince yourself, well, it'll be okay. Don't worry about it. It's a bit close to the mark for me. Financially, I need to be a bit more careful with my money. It'll be okay. No, it won't, guys. You know, I speak from experience. I came here. I've got enough money to see me through till I'm digging in the ground and being buried. And I fell in love. I fell in love with a bar girl, and she rinsed me. And I did it because A, I fell in love, B, I believe she'd change, and C, I fell into all the traps I'm telling you about. So, you know, just be aware when I'm saying this, I'm not just giving you my blasé opinion, I speak from experience. So we say to ourselves, oh, it'll be okay, she'll change, and you'll sit. Sadly, that never changes. These guys on the motorbike, bang, bang, what's that about? Anyway, right, so where were we? So you start to pay into the situation, and you're like, oh, she'll be all right, she'll change. And it doesn't happen, guys. You know, once they've set their stall out, that's it. You'll be very lucky to turn it around. So be careful. Look at the early warning signs and decide, is this financially something I can see through to the end? Or do I need to take action now and stop it while I still can? Now, remember I was discussing about personal situations back home. So let's just say that, you know, maybe you're living on your own, or perhaps you've been through a long marriage and you've just got divorced, you're not used to adjusting to it, etc., etc. When you come out here, it's very easy to become normal again, because you're surrounded by happiness, you're surrounded by smiles, you're surrounded by attention from beautiful women. Life is just very, very easy here. So of course, all your defenses and that, they start to go down. You think, oh, this is great. Then comes along the lady of your life, and you know, she says, oh, you know, blah blah blah, and you start to get feelings for her. Remember being kind-hearted, all these kind of things. So suddenly you're very, very vulnerable, because what you're seeing as real is actually a fantasy. Now, if you're living on your own and then you're walking down a road and suddenly there's 10 or 15 or 20 women saying, hello, 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 it's very easy and quite expected for you to start believing this situation. So again, you know, keeping it real, especially if you're trying to stay away from being sucked in, you know, you've got to kind of like balance the books and say to yourself, do you know what, I need to be very careful here. But it doesn't hurt to feel wanted, does it? You know, when you want to have that relationship, you want to feel loved, you want to feel wanted. Out here, you can get it every day of the week. The difference is that they may have an alternative motive, and they may be looking at trying to release that money from you. So, you know, going back to the original question, how do these guys lose everything? Hopefully you can start to build a picture now and start to see, do you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. They're living a sad life at home. They've come out here, they're not confident with women, the women are going to them. Suddenly it's becoming normal. What was a depressing situation back home is now a really nice, happy, bubbly situation here. Can you see where we're going with this? Now, here's the biggest problem. Thai women. Now, I'm not going to cast any judgments. I'm just going to say to you how it is here. And if this differs to what you're looking at back home, well, then you make that decision. I'm not going to say it. Thai women here naturally are very slender, very slim. Yes, over the years, a lot of the girls working here seem to have got a little bit bigger, but even their idea of big, in my opinion, they are still very slender. So if when you're looking out of your window back home, is that motorbike again? I don't know what they do it for, but anyway, if when you're looking out your window back home, you're not seeing the same kind of slender that I'm seeing, well then there's a good reason to come out here. They've got a great attitude. You know, you walk down the road, they're happy, they're smiley, they'll greet you, hello sexy man, all that kind of stuff. I know it's false, but it makes you feel good. And remember, this is why people lose everything. So they're now feeling really good, really confident about themselves. When you walk into the bars, you know, the girls are kind, they're attentive. You know, you'll sit down and they'll talk to you and they'll put their hand on your leg and they'll talk to you, maybe they'll massage you, all these kind of things. Yes, I know a lot of it's changed over the years, but nevertheless, it still does happen. So again, you know, you're sitting in this paradise and you're thinking, hang on, I'm getting a massage from a beautiful woman that's making me feel welcome. She only wants a couple of drinks. I've got enough money because I've been saving up all my life and I've been living on my own, and suddenly I've got a new breath of fresh air. So you can start to see how it's starting to put together. Thai women in general are just fun to be with. You know, they're off the wall, they're a little bit crazy, they're a little bit funny, you know. They'll sit there for hours playing jackpot with you and Connect Four and just randomly having a laugh. And they, you know, when they talk to each other, they're very animated and they laugh and they joke. A far cry from what I was used to back home. So again, it makes you have that feel-good factor. They're very smiley, you know, Thai smile, isn't it? A Thai smile. So, you know, they smile all the time, they're attentive, they're attractive, they're making you feel welcome. It really is, you are up against it now, you know, and hopefully people that are watching think, do you know what, I can see why people do lose as much money as they do. So, now we've got the demographic of the girl. The next problem that we've got is that now you're in. You've dived in now. Now you're right in the thick of it. So you've come from what would become a very boring way of life to now you're living that dream. So what do you do now? Well, of course, people start to commit. You know, oh, I want to be with you. I'll take you out of your bar if that's where you're working. I'll take you out of your shop or your restaurant if that's what you're working in there. And let's build a life together. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But the foundations on how you're building this life is so important. You know, we used to have it back in the years, probably about 5 years ago now. Ironically, considering the time that we're going through, we haven't had so much, but we used to have jumpers all the time. People that would leap off of a balcony on a condo, and it's so sad, you know, it really is sad, because those people, you know, I don't know their circumstances, but clearly they're in a world of turmoil, in a world of mess, and they've taken their own life, and that is so sad. But I'm guessing they never got on the plane the very first time, flew all the way out here to say, do you know what, when I get there, I'm going to leap off 16th floor on such and such condo. So again, you know, when you start to build that future like I did, you've got to really be aware of the game, which I wasn't. So, you know, try and balance the books, just put it into perspective, take a step back and try and keep it real before you commit too soon. It happens as well because you least expect it. When you come here, you meet the girl of your dreams, everything's all going well, you think to yourself, do you know what, this is ideal, I've landed, I've won the lottery. Have you? Have you really? And I don't want to be like posing too many negative questions, but the reality of it is you've got to ask these questions, because if you don't, when it's too late, it's too late. You know what I'm saying? So it creeps up on you when you least expect it. You know, when I was with Fon, my first girlfriend, we were together for 4 years, I thought I'd won the lottery. But it turned out that basically, you know, I built her a massive house, three restaurants and a milkshake shop, 2 cars, and I walked away with nothing. It is what it is, guys. And I learned from that, and I'm very lucky now in my current situation, very lucky, because I've put everything in place to make sure that never happens again. But I'm having a fantastic life now. And when I'm with Mo, she is a million times different from where I was with Fon. So again, you know, you've got to balance these books. So now we're in a situation where the person's come here, they found the love of their life, they start to commit. What do they do now? How do they end up losing everything? Well, quite frankly, when you start committing, you know, like I did with the house, We lived in a house down here. She wanted to go and live up in the country and the village. So we went up there, we bought a plot of land. Then I've got a house. I'm starting to build a brand new house. We built our own house. Big 4-bedroom place, was lovely. So I'm starting to build, but all of a sudden I'm in too deep. And for some people, they may not be financially able to step away and say, do you know what? You crack on, sweetheart. You can have it. Doesn't matter, I'm going to walk away like I did. So now some people are in a situation where they're going, shit, I've put all my money into this. This has got to work, because if it doesn't work, I've lost everything. Add to that factor that maybe they're at the age where all of a sudden they can't just go back to their normal lifestyle. Maybe they're in their late 60s or whatever, and they're running out of money. And you can see now where they are. They're in a really, really vulnerable position. Very, very vulnerable position. So, excuse me. So what they then do is they then have to go the whole hog. And remember I said about convincing yourself, oh, it'll be okay. Oh, she'll change. Everything will work out. So now they're going full hog. I'm in, I'm all in. I'm everything, it's all in. Can you see how this happens? So when they're all in, there's only one way in it. It's either heads you win or tails, And if you draw the tails and you've got to leap off, it's not good. It's really, really not good. So what do? What do? You can't just go back and start to rebuild your life. It's very, very difficult. So if they choose to jump ship and say, right, I'm out, that's how they've lost everything. These people come here with great ambition, with great dreams, great aspirations. They fall in love with these beautiful women. And, you know, whether you agree with me or not, I personally think Asian women are stunningly beautiful. I love the culture here. The culture here is fantastic. I like the way the girls interact with us and make us feel loved and wanted. I think that's amazing. And why is it wrong for somebody back in their own country that's maybe in a world of turmoil come out here and try? There's nothing wrong with trying, but there's everything wrong with coming out here and letting your guard down. Now, I don't know, guys. Maybe some of you guys know people that have been through the run, been through the mill a little bit and been turned over, sadly. Maybe you've been turned over yourself, like I had. It does happen. So I think my advice to these people, or advice to you, is the discussion is how do they come here and lose it all. I think hopefully I've covered that as to seeing why it's not so black and white. People just say, oh, they're an idiot. Stupid guy, deserves all he gets being an idiot like that. She's half his age. Listen, guys, age is just a number. Get over it. The only reason you're conditioned to believe that age should be like within a few years of each other is because that's what you're taught back home in your own country. That's it. That's all it is. My missus is 40, I'm 54. So it's 14 years difference. Does that make it bad? No. I get what you're coming from in terms of if someone's in his 40s and maybe the girl's 22, 23, because she's still young, she's got to find her own life yet. So that isn't wrong as such because she's a consenting adult, but it does make it challenging because she's yet to find her feet. But all this garbage about, she was half his age, so what? If someone's 60 and she's 30, so what? What does it really matter? It's irrelevant. The only time it becomes relevant is when you have to justify it to your mates down your pub and you're like, oh yeah, my missus is 20 years younger than me. Really? And out comes all the accusations, what you are, etc., and all that rubbish. So, coming out here is fantastic. You're going to meet lots and lots of beautiful women. Be very, very careful. Keep your eyes open at all times. Keep your wits about you at all times. Never be frightened to take a step back, look at the situation in the cold light of day, and sometimes it's better to cut your losses and lose a little than dive in and convince yourself it's going to be right and lose everything. Just food for thought, guys. So there you go. I don't know how this has gone because I'm not really sure whether this is one of my better videos or probably one of my worst ones, to be honest. I'm not really sure how this is working out. But anyway, we'll see. I live and die by what I do, so if I do a good job, great. If I've done a bad job, well then tell me, I'll take it on the jaw and we won't do this subject again. It's not a problem. I'll stick to me walkabouts and my coffee chats and my live streams. But what I would ask, guys, before we go is please, if you do know of a situation maybe you've experienced and how you overcame it, please share. If you know of somebody, without naming them, maybe use a false name or whatever, and you can explain their story, please again share. Peter from Thailand Bound, on his channel, they share these stories of car crashes, not literally a car crash, but a car crash where a guy's met a woman and it's just gone pear-shaped. And, it's just so sad, but sadly, even more so, it's so frequent. So I don't know, guys. There we go. That's it. That's me. That's what we're on about today. I need to get another throat lodge. My throat's killing me. I was in a really smoky bar last week. Can't shift it. Just can't shift it. But anyway, not to worry. So, finishing off, guys, please, as I would ask you, don't forget, please remember hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when I bring out a new video. As I've said earlier, please check out our Discord group and also check out our members area and have a look at that for me. And that's it. I hope to look forward to reading through all your comments, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, guys, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and please, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.